Hello, hello. How is it going, everybody? So there has been a new Illuvium Town Hall. Illuvium Main Council Town Hall about extending the Wave 2 beyond and also about the promotion. Oh, let me restart. And let me also show you what I'm talking about. Yeah, anyway, we're gonna watch the Town Hall together. I'm gonna play my daily run for the Arena Marathon tournament happening right now in the Phantom Illuvium Guild. And after that, we're gonna watch some Oscar Matt Gaming. And who else got a new video? I think, yeah, Modern Llama got another one. So that's what's on the menu today. Perfect. There we go. So, there has been a new Illuvium Town Hall from the main council. It's about Illuvium Beyond Wave 2, about extending the sale so it doesn't come at the same time and before the open beta releases, and also about the promo sale happening. And we're gonna have a listen to that right now, and while we do, I'm gonna play one game of Illuvium Arena, because right now we have an event going on in the Phantom Illuvium Discord. In the Phantom Guild's Discord, we are doing the Arena Marathon event. Every day where you play Arena, you take a screenshot of your Wave 20 finish or higher, and then you get a raffle ticket for the giveaway at the end of it. So, let's jump into it and play some games and listen to some Town Hall.
Kieran, I think I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you to kick us off here a little bit with some of the team perspective on maybe Illuvium Beyond in general, and then specifically with the promo partner that we've got lined up going forward. I think that'll help set the stage.
For sure. Thanks, mate. So, I originally the intention of the Illuvium Beyond product was to standardize it as quickly as possible. I think it's super important, and that goes from the product specs, the promotional partners, the timings, and even down to the pricing. Now, I was very, very against changing the pricing for Wave 2, and a lot of community and council members were sort of in favor of changing that, and that's totally fine. And I guess what I've realized over time is, as much as I would like to standardize this product straight out of the gates, there are teething issues, right?
I think I'll
Let's start it again. I'm really sorry. That was not a good first run. There is a now... You're here. You're live here. There is a new Illuvium Town Hall with the main council talking about the Illuvium Beyond Wave 2 extension, so it doesn't come before the open beta of Illuvium of all the games launched, and also about... Listen to it. Since we don't have a video, we're gonna play some Illuvium on the side. Oh, did I screw it one more time? Yes, there was enough time. Alrighty. Let me cheat my way into this. Give me 1 second. So, last try. There has been a new Illuvium Town Hall with the main council about Illuvium Beyond Wave 2, and if we should extend it so it doesn't come before the open beta, and it's a critical time right now, and the proposal is about extending the wave 2, so it happens after the open beta, and they're also going to talk about the promotion sales. So let's jump right into that, and we're going to play some Illuvium Arena on the side, because right now there is a tournament going on, an event in the Phantom Discord in our Illuvium guild, and if you have a wave 20 finish or more, you take a screenshot of that and you get a raffle ticket afterward if you post that in the Phantom Discord. Alright, let's jump right into it and see how it goes.
I think I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to you to kick us off here a little bit with some of the team perspective on maybe Illuvium Beyond in general, and then specifically with the promo partner that we've got lined up going forward. I think that'll help set the stage.
For sure, thanks, mate. So, I originally, the intention of the Illuvium Beyond product was to standardize it as quickly as possible. I think it's super important, and that goes from the product specs, the promotional partners, the timings, and even down to the pricing. Now, I was very, very against changing the pricing for Wave 2, and a lot of community and council members were sort of in favor of changing that, and that's totally fine. And I guess what I've realized over time is, as much as I would like to standardize this product straight out of the gates, there are teething issues, right? Like I just don't think it's reasonable to think that there aren't going to be any changes. And so that's kind of where we're at when it comes to Illuvium Beyond. Why we're having this conversation about extending this wave is not a matter of us saying, hey, we just want to extend it so we can generate more sales, and that definitely wasn't the idea. We're not saying to the people who have bought in Wave 2, we want to extend it to dilute you or anything like that. The whole reason this happened, and I've been very vocal about this for the last, it would be going on nearly 6 months, and that is that the promotional partner that we have decided to go with is a two-pronged attack. And we're utilizing them for our PvP marketing campaign, and very, very heavily using them for that PvP marketing campaign. Now, that campaign would typically cost somewhere between $500 and $1 million if we didn't do it in this strategic way, coupling it with a Illuvitar's drop, right? So they've got some upside in terms of the sales for this promotion, and we've got some upside as well. So we potentially, from going from what would cost us the DAO 500 to $1 million to market PvP in this way, and obviously, I'm not saying that we definitely would have done that, but I'm saying the opportunity for us to be able to do that was very attractive. And when you think about the potential of it not costing us anything, and then potentially actually turning into an event where we earn some the DAO some revenue from this exercise, it becomes extremely attractive, right? And so we decided long ago to do Wave 2 promotional partner with these guys. And the trouble is, when it's attached to PvP, when PvP started moving, this partnership started moving. It doesn't, and it's a little bit tough because we're under NDA and I can't release who the partner is. I've hinted towards who this partner is. I think a few people have a pretty good idea, And when you think about, it's very PvP related, you sort of get an idea of who we would have gone with. But if we decide to go out with just the Illuvitar's promotional campaign, it starts losing a hell of a lot of relevance to their key audience. Now, the entire reason that we go out with promotional partners is to bring in a new audience. So if we didn't have that lead up where there's a bunch of PvP exposure to this brand's community, it would almost be like we're just dropping NFTs on them without any context, and they're probably going to reject that idea, right? And so that's why we're not sitting here saying, hey, we've got the partner lined up, we've got the date lined up, let's just move on ahead and chuck it in now. We have to work under the same under the parameters of when we can release it with PvP. I think it would be a bit of a disaster if we didn't do that, right? So that's how we've gotten into this position, and obviously it's not ideal. I'm one of the people that, again, advocates for standardization of this product. I really, really believe in that, and I hope we can get to that. But I just wanted to give you all some context to say this isn't just us trying to milk sales out of the community and dilute people. It's simply a way for us to keep this collaborative promotion intact. And yeah, hopefully that sort of sets the stage of where we're at, and then we can dig a little bit deeper.
Yeah, very good. Thanks, Kieran. So maybe a couple other points here. Seeing some comments in the chat. I haven't really seen any concerns in terms of going with the promo partner. I do think though it's really important for the community and I mean the entire Illuvium community, including those that are playing Beyond as well as those that aren't, to understand that each of the products, each of the experiences that we're offering, Arena, Overworld, Zero, Beyond, they're really critical to the DAO. And while they do have to each have their own positioning and their own success, they also have to fit together into this broader picture, right? As we talked about the integration of Illuvium Zero with the lands and the Overworld and then into the Arena. Those discussions, it can be difficult when you have such an interconnected ecosystem like we do here, that if one product has some changes to it, it's very rare that it's not going to impact others across the ecosystem. And so I would just ask everyone to keep that in mind, that we do have to look at this holistically for the entire organization and the entirety of the DAO. So I think most people are on board, maybe everyone really, with the idea of having a good promo partner. The primary discussion that I've seen over the past day or so is really just this question of, do we extend Wave 2 versus...
I forgot to put the disclaimer in. Usually what happens in Illuvium main council reacts, I'm not reacting, I'm just playing a game and they're just talking. I'm just trying to soak up their information. As I said before, they're really experts in their fields and they're really smart people here in our main council. So usually I don't have much to add and I'd rather just take it in. Sometimes they leave out stuff deliberately because the town hall meeting has to stop at one point, but you could talk on for hours about the subject. So sometimes I can fill something in that they left out, but usually we're just listening together. But we're playing Enchanted Toxic on the side, so it's a really, really relaxed environment we're in.
Do we end a Wave 2 and launch a Wave 3 beforehand? I'll give some feedback to that on the front end, and then I don't know any of the others on the stage can do so afterwards. the main reason for this is we've seen very clear sentiments in terms of all of the channels for months now. There's been very little interest from the community in having a Wave 3 sale. The community feels like it becomes
I agree.
too value extractive of the community members to launch another sale. Because to be frank, if you're going to be competing for leaderboard spots, which we know, many of the Beyond players are, you're essentially being forced into buying the next wave. And so if we continue to launch more waves before open beta is out, this is a very negative connotation for many in the community. I know it's not unanimous, but for sure, that was very strongly reflected back to us as a council from the communities across the last months when we've had this discussion. So I do recognize that that's an option, and for sure we had that dialogue, but it was pretty clear to us as a council over the past months that is definitely not the favored approach by most of the community, and it's certainly very negative from an outside perspective as well, to have another wave launch before open beta. So that's my take on it. Maybe have another, any of the other council members can jump in as they'd like to.
Yeah, and I will say this: I know that conversation or those discussion points has been so prevalent because I am in the other bucket, right? Like, again, I feel like we shouldn't be. We released this product; it should be as is. We shouldn't be changing the time parameters based on market sentiment. But I'm only one person, right? I have a different spending capacity to others, and that's totally okay. And I've been willing to say, you know what, as much as I think it's going to hurt the product to have such a long delay, like we're talking, potentially a couple of months or even 3 months, where no one can literally buy apart from off secondary. I think that change is way more drastic than what we're talking about here in extending the wave. But I'm willing to accept that that's where the community's at, and if they feel like it's too extractive, I get it. The intention was that the games were meant to be out. That's why Illuvium Beyond was released when it was, and so there's been changes, as you say, across the board, and we've had to move with those changes. But I think the argument that you had set parameters and now they're changing is also apparent when you think about not starting wave 3, like talking about not having a promotion partner in wave 2 at all, and just going ahead with wave 3. Like, there's issues across the board, and there's changes that we need to make to what the initial product was. Regardless, it just comes down to what are those changes, right? And I believe the people in the top 100 who on the leaderboards who should be advocating for the hardest, right, when it comes to this product, they've spent the most money on it. I think you'd find, and this is just my opinion, that they would want things to continue like normal and have continuous waves regardless. And I think a lot of the conversation around not having a wave 3 until open beta would be coming from people outside of that top 100 that don't have the spending capacity. And you could make the argument, well, who should have more of a voice in that decision to actually stop wave 3 from going ahead until open beta? So I just want to make the point there that while there's an argument of the product should be standardized, no changes, there's going to be changes regardless, right? So I think we, as a DAO, we just need to accept that.
Well said.
I'll go ahead and jump in here, but I've tried to be responsive in the Gov Ideas post with some of my thoughts.
Maybe something I can provide in this discussion is my own view. I think it's good if we delay. I think it will help the open beta launch. I don't think people, even those who are against the delay, will take it really bad that we're gonna delay. Like, everybody is about the games, right? We love Beyond, but it's not our focus of the community, I feel like, except a few. Except for a few people, it's like a nice to have thing on the side, at least for me. And so I don't mind if that helps at all to make the open beta launch smoother and not like they said, it's gonna be, it's kind of like, yo, we released this and everybody who has been playing so far, like everybody who's actively competing in the leaderboards, has to now buy the whole set. And that might be a bit much since it's the third wave and it's still before the game. So yeah, I do agree, or I don't agree. My opinion is that we should delay.
I see
But maybe that changes
people
in this
the comments
town hall.
basically saying, you know, that they prefer Wave 3 over Wave 2. Look, this was kind of my assumption was that, or my feeling going into it was that the community was strongly against another wave before more of the public beta releases. So I think what I would really like to see is just a clear understanding of where the community sits on this. So, I mean, if you guys are listening to this right now, hop in the message panel for this, you know, for this stage and just voice your opinion, right? Because it feels a little bit like there's a small subset of people that prefer Wave 3 over a Wave 2 extension, like Kieran was just saying, and I just want a clearer understanding of where you know, where people are at on this, because I think there are pros and cons to each approach. I've spent a good bit of capital on Wave 1 and Wave 2, and I'm kind of indifferent. I mean, I would probably prefer the extension of Wave 2 personally, just because I think it makes more sense for the DAO as a business. But I understand there are people that have concerns about the you know, the do what you say you know, mindset, and I think there is value in that, right? You want to be able to trust that there's a sense of reliability in decisions that are made. So I get that. And if there's, you know, if people say that they want Wave 3 earlier, as long as it's not a as long as it's not going to be an incredible dev lift to make that happen, I don't think it should take away from the other focuses. And like Nick has said, you know, publicly and privately, that you know, busier than ever, right? The dev team is like all hands on deck trying to polish the product. If it's going to take away from that, I think that's also something the community should consider when trying to weigh the pros and cons of the decision. But that's, you know, just kind of my 2 cents.
And sorry, just on that, before we pass over to get Blichter's opinion, I just want to make it very clear. While it is the reason why it would be a dev uplift, and we would need to refocus priorities and resources, is because the overwhelming sentiment that we have been hearing from the community from the past like 4, 5, 6 months. And I know Bitcoin just popped yesterday, which might be changing people's bearish sentiments, but we have overwhelmingly been hearing this sentiment and this idea that don't sell us any more NFTs prior to open beta. And that has meant that the concept team, instead of going hard on, you know, a large focus of them being get Wave 3 done and Wave 4. Now, Wave 3 is, from an artwork perspective, is still like very much, I would say it's like 85% complete. So there is an uplift there, but it wasn't what we were expecting. And we have taken those people off to build the environments, because in our opinion, it sounded like getting more regions out was more important for open beta than it was for us to continue selling NFTs. So that was a team decision that we decided, and that was based on us listening to the community. Now for us to switch gears and have to go back and complete wave 3 rather quickly, it is going to be a dev uplift. It is definitely going to be possible, but as Nick is trying to explain, it's not ideal. But again, I'm just trying to give you the context of why that has happened, because we were adamant that this product could continue to run wave after wave after wave. But when you're hearing from the community over and over and over again, don't sell us any more NFTs, it looks like a cash grab, it's so extractive, no one has any more money, we've got to react to that. And I think it didn't make sense to continue building out those waves while we have much bigger fish to fry when it comes to adding to the different regions for open beta.
Yeah, and I think in a perfect world, of course, it would be nice if everything could always be firing at 100%, right? But that's just not the reality of business, and there are limited resources in any business. And in this case, it's just what do you prioritize, right? And especially with the feedback we had heard that stop selling as NFTs, it seemed like it'd make more sense to extend a way for something that's already been built, refocus all energy on shipping other things, and then reset when public beta and open beta launches. So that was kind of just to provide a little bit of background for why this decision or proposal was put forth in the first place. That was the mindset we were coming from. But yeah, Blichter, if you want to share your thoughts as well, please feel free.
Yeah, I feel like most of the points have already been made. It's a difficult decision. Like the guys said, following wave 2, we did hear fairly strongly that wasn't desirable to have additional sales for Beyond before open beta. I understand that in the context of a partner, some people might feel differently about that. Primarily, we brought this solution forward because we felt holistically it was the best. It was going to be the least amount of dev work. In addition, things like the Wave 2 promo sale would have Wave 2 Illuvatars in it, and so it sort of makes sense to have that happen during Wave 2. But listen, we're here to listen to what the community thinks. This is a bit of a complex topic because things do evolve. We do have things that change. We do have partners that become available, and we do need to be agile and be able to adapt to that. And just wanted to say that I do understand where people are coming from. At no point is it our goal to say something and then change it. So it's mostly just a matter of how can we move forward in the best way possible. It's unlikely that everybody will be 100% satisfied with that, but what makes the most sense to do? How can we get the most value for the DAO out of these partnerships that we can? And this was what we felt was best, but we are here to listen. I understand that some people might feel differently, so.
And
Go ahead.
Sorry, Penny. And the simple answer for some might be, well, stop the wave as intended, don't do the promo sale, and then do the promo sale at a later date. The issue with us doing the promo sale when the wave isn't running is that we had 1,350 new people come into the ecosystem from the GameStop promotional sale, and they had no wave to buy into. Now, we've made considerable updates to the product in that when you're buying a promotional disc now, you will get contents of inside the disc that enable you to start playing the game anyway. But we think that that's going to spur on people to go, okay, well, now that I've got a standard Illuvitar that's not promotional, and I've got some accessories here, what do I do with those, right? Do I bond it? And then if I bond it, whoa, what just happened? I've got album points. Now I'm on this leaderboard. It sucks them into the product and it engages them. Then their next likely move is to go, okay, well, that was really fun. I'm going to go buy another disc. If we don't have other discs available, it makes it very hard, right? Like you lose that customer almost guaranteed. I think out of the 1,350, there's been about 50 participants that continued on. So the take up rate for Wave 2 from those promotional partners has been nowhere near what I think we would get if they got into the ecosystem properly.
I feel like it sounds like the goal is with the promotional discs to onboard people mainly to the Beyond side of things at first. But I feel like it could be better to not focus on them keep buying discs after the promotional discs. The first step after the promotional discs should be check out the games. Like in those promotional discs, there should be a beta code, and it should be really enforced that people go and check out the games and play the games and actually onboard them to the real Illuvium universe, and not just for the Beyond part and keep them there for some extended period of time.
And there were other discs available, and so that's a large part of the decision. Now, the other problem is some people have said, okay, well then stop the wave when it was intended, and then when you do the promotional sale, just allow the Wave 2 discs to be sold for a short period, either like slightly before, then during the promotional sale, then slightly after. The issue with doing that is the messaging that we've had all along, and the intention of the product was to say that once a wave ends, it's finite. Now, it's my opinion as the head of marketing, it's much, much harder for us to convey to people, and I think there's going to be even more uproar from the Beyond community if they feel like a wave has ended and then, promotional partner, now they've started selling the same discs again. I thought the amount was finite. There was only 100 Aphistos, and now there's going to be 120. It changes the entire Beyond economy, and I don't think that's a very good experience either. And so there are many, many different scenarios that we've played out, and I would definitely understand the argument more that extending the wave is going to dilute my my current Wave 2 Illuvitars if there was a finite amount set on them, right? If there was only ever 500,000 or 1 million that could ever be minted, and then all of a sudden we increase that, I think that's a lot different than us saying, well, you could buy an unlimited amount during this time frame. We're just extending that time frame out. If someone today decided, a big whale decided, hey, I'm going to jump into the ecosystem and spend $5 million on discs, it's going to dilute you the exact same as what it would be extending the wave. And, I just see less of that argument there when you really, really think about it. I don't think the internal ecosystem is going to sit there and go, well, now that the wave's extended, I'm going to keep on buying, right? Like I think everyone had already priced in how much they were going to spend on Wave 2, and I don't think that changes. All I think it does is open up a window for those new people that are joining the ecosystem. And again, hopefully we get 1,000. Hopefully we get 5,000 people. We don't know what success looks like yet, but if we do, and they go in and buy a whole bunch of new discs and then that wave ends, in my opinion, that's better for people who are in wave 2, because those secondary sales are going to go nuts with people who are like, oh, damn, I only had a limited amount of time to buy wave 2 discs after I bought my first promotional disc, which got me into this ecosystem. Now I'm addicted and I don't have an Mephisto, or I don't have one of these characters that allows me to complete my album. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the secondary market and I'm going to start sniping them. I think that is a much better scenario than or a much more realistic scenario than our existing community just purchasing way more than what they would have because we've extended it by a couple of months, right? Like that's kind of where I'm at in terms of making sense of it.
And yeah, and Kieran, this is a point I was going to make too. From a beyond player standpoint, as someone who's playing, I'm not top 100 on the leaderboard, but I am heavily invested in the platform and the product. The more people that we can onboard into the ecosystem and beyond, the more focus that it will continue to get from the studio. And again, I think JP put it pretty well in some of the comments that yes, there's more supply as more people buy into the wave. However, there's also more demand even in the short term. And if we're successful, again, this comes back to if the promo partner was not a good partner and we were looking at getting another 150 people into the product and they're just all going to buy a disc or two and then bounce out, this isn't really beneficial, and it also doesn't really hurt anybody either. So I would say it's kind of a nothing burger. If instead though you have a number of players that get into the ecosystem, they're bringing demand as well as adding additional supply. They're bringing demand for wave 1 that's obviously closed already. They're bringing demand for wave 2, and it also gives us as a council, it gives the team much more visibility into how popular this particular product is going to be as we can onboard players from other communities. And so in order for Beyond to continue to get focus, we've got to bring players in. And yes, that means that anyone that has discs and Illuvatars that have been purchased now in the first couple waves, there may be more of those if the intention is to hold it for 3 years and then sell. I agree that's probably a loss for you in the short term. However, we have to be able to get to that long-term time horizon, and the best way to do that is to onboard people to the ecosystem. All of our games, right? They all work in concert together.
Yeah, I think you put that well, Annie. But yeah, that basically, if Illuvatars, if Beyond is going to be what helps onboard new people, if it's part of that puzzle, then this promo is a very good way of doing that. And it wouldn't really be. I don't look at it as dilutive for that to happen, knowing that it's built to bring in new users, right? It's a very targeted. There's a very targeted reason we're doing this. We're not just extending it for the heck of it. But I'm looking through the comments now, seeing if there's anything else.
I just wanted to, I think Artie had mentioned this earlier, but the question was essentially about what sorts of things can we do to fix this going forward. It's been something we've talked about a bit, but figuring out the cadence for sales and making that something that's consistent every wave, whether that's a sale running for 3 months and a month of downtime, or sale running for 5 months and a month of downtime, or even other solutions. That is the goal state for Beyond to be in. Right now, this is our second wave, which essentially had no great way to tell how much tolerance the community had for spending. Obviously, being in a bear market didn't contribute positively to that, but we need to figure out what the optimal cadence is for the community, and that is a goal. It is a goal to have a set cadence where people can know, yes, this starts this day, it'll end this day, and over time, we should be able to ideally be able to set up partners that coincide with those time frames. Just this was a great opportunity that it wouldn't have been wise to pass up, right? So
Yeah, and again, I'll advocate that like until I'm black and blue, right? Like we have this type of activation with how much has gone into it, with how much exposure we're going to get with PvP to mainstream audiences, very, very targeted mainstream audiences, with a partner that is a top 5 organization or top 10 organization in the genres that we are trying to showcase, would cost us honestly probably in the millions, right, to do that, which is not feasible. Now, when an opportunity like this, and Lauren did a ridiculously good job. I to be honest, couldn't even really fathom the idea of this happening with a game that's in early access with the size of partner. But when he brought this to me and he said that the whole idea would be that we do an Illuvitas collection, because remember, we have another partner that's lined up that we could potentially do instead. But we decided, no, it makes perfect sense. It's going to line up with PvP. We definitely should be looking to do, this dual integration where we hit PvP and we also hit Illuvitas at the same time. That decision was made, and once you see who this partner is, you'll understand why that was such a good marketing decision. And from the finance standpoint, we would have had to have gone out with some type of marketing campaign for the release of PvP. It's been 3 years in the making. We're trying to get mainstream audiences to come in. This is the first time that we really believe that we have a product that can stand up against our mainstream competitors. If we did release this product without spending a whole bunch of money on marketing, I think there would be just as much uproar, if not more, from the community saying, like, why didn't you spend any money on marketing? Why didn't you try and get new users in? The whole idea is we want to build our player base, and you've not spent any money, right? Like that would seem insane as well. And so there are so many different factors that have been swirling around this decision. And again, had PvP not been delayed, this wouldn't have been an issue. It would have lined up perfectly. But we need to make concessions based on changes. And I get that this product is, we're trying to standardize it, but there's also larger repercussions for us, making changes, as Annie has pointed out multiple times on this call. We've got to look at this. IMC makes decisions in the best interest of the whole DAO, right? And you have multiple products. You have stakers, you have people who play Zero who bought land, you have arena players, you have overworld players. They're not all the time interconnected. Not a person who bought land hasn't necessarily bought Illuvium Beyond, and it's a very, very hard thing to balance. And I think the concept of our governance structure does that in a really good way. If this was just simply a bunch of developers saying, this is what we have to do based on this partner coming in and it's the biggest thing, you guys don't get it, then I could understand the frustration. But this is a collective of all of those people coming together. I'm sure the landholders are like, well, we've had our land prices be slashed over time because you said the game would be out 6 months ago and it's not. But a Beyond player is like, well, sorry, we had to, we're trying to make the game good. And it's like, well, I don't really care about that because I bought a piece of land, right? Like there's always going to be differing opinions of the holders across the board. And then you've got the ILV token holders who are like, I just want you to get this game out yesterday because I bought it 3 years ago thinking that it would come out sooner. And so it is very, very, very complex to balance it. And that's why we have governance. And that's why I'm sitting here saying, you know, the decision to stop selling waves, in my opinion, is going to hurt Illuvium Beyond, right? As the CEO of the organization and the head of marketing, I believe that we're going to lose a bunch of interest from those top 100 people if we don't sell wave 3 and wave 4 and wave 5 like intended. But it's not my decision, right? It's the entire DAO's decision, and the overwhelming response was stop selling us NFTs, to the point where internal team members were like worried about it, including the people that actually build the products. And, you know, that's a huge change, but we got to accept it, and we got to roll with the punches when it comes to these changes and just do the best that we absolutely can.
Yeah, I know we've covered a lot of information here today, and I know that some people won't necessarily have their minds changed by this, but I would ask that everybody just take this information, think about it, think about what it means for the DAO, what makes the most sense in this context, and look, we're not here trying to force this through. If the DAO, you know, doesn't want this at the end of the day, if they don't believe it's best, we can find something else that could work. But we really do think fairly strongly that this likely is the best solution that's available, and yeah, I suppose I'm just saying, consider the different angles of this and how this could be good for the DAO as a whole. It could be good for Beyond players as well, bringing more people into the ecosystem. You know, more people trading, more people spreading some excitement about Illuvium. That's kind of what we're trying to achieve with this.
So one thing that I just saw in the chat, which is pretty interesting, is put a stop to the wave now and start the wave back up. So it would, you know, not wave 3, but wave 2, start the wave back up once this promotional partner comes on board. Haven't really thought about that in depth. I mean, there's going to be people who are waiting to buy, you know, next week, and if all of a sudden it gets shut off, they come back and they're like, what, this thing was meant to go for a little bit longer, now you're forcing me to buy in this other period. It's still a change. Is it slightly more palatable than extending the wave and just letting it run through? I'm not sure, but it's that is definitely another option. But I just, again, like to reiterate that while we can go and sell the promotion, this wave 3 promotion, this wave 2 promotion in wave 3, it's, even from a product standpoint, you're talking about the Illuvatars that are in wave 2 that are now being sold inside of wave 3. It's weird in itself. Now, the other thing that we could do is say, all right, we're not going to use the wave 2 Illuvatars that are intended for the promotion, but then we're talking about wiping out a bunch of work that the artists have already done. We've already agreed, and there's been a lot of collaboration and back and forth with the partner on artwork decisions, what accessories to use, what will work, what won't work. that's going to create a huge amount of uplift. So it will likely be a case of us saying, we don't want to throw out. I don't think anyone in the DAO wants to waste money. That's for sure, and that is going to be a big sink of wasted money. So what that in reality would mean, if we don't pause and then start again, is we would start wave 3, and we would be selling effectively wave 2 Illuvatars inside of wave 3 for that short 7-day window. Now, does that make people say, well, that's even more stupid than what you're originally proposing? So again, just want to put all perspectives on the table. As Blicter's saying, there's a lot to think about here, and this is a collective decision. All I can do is give my perspective based on the team. There is going to be considerable uplift. The best decision from a team standpoint in terms of resourcing, in terms of our marketing efforts, in terms of how we've also, just quickly on those marketing efforts, how we've also constructed the next few months of marketing campaigns to switch gears and then all of a sudden launch a wave 3 again, because suddenly the community is okay with us launching a wave 3. There's considerable clashes there with us advertising our PB3 and then eventually our PB4. We were under the assumption, again, that there wouldn't be any more waves until the open beta is out. And so we've created our marketing efforts accordingly. Now, again, it's a DAO, right? For someone to say, you said this and it has to be that, and that's final, you shouldn't be in a DAO environment, right? There is the ability for governance to change core structures and do it quickly. And that's the attractiveness of this type of DAO. Now, me as the head of marketing, do I sit there and I'm like, well, you've just completely screwed or thrown a spanner in the works at the very least for the upcoming marketing campaigns that we've sat here building over the last few months. That's terrible. Why are you doing that? We're not going to accept that. No, we will also adapt to what the DAO wants, and we will also go back and put the work in to change those campaigns and make it work as best we can. But my honest opinion here is, if we don't have this promotional partner in wave 2 in some way, shape or form, whether that means pausing and then starting again, or extending the wave and then selling this promotional partner when we intended, it will have an effect on the quality of us being able to market PvP and beyond, which I think will have a greater effect on the pricing of the Illuvatars that you've already bought, and not just wave 2, in wave 1 as well, right? If we get this right, everyone wins. If we fail here because of changes at the end of, right at the end here, then everyone loses. PvP loses, Beyond users lose, the ILV token holders lose, and it's just a situation that I'm trying to avoid at all costs. But having said that, I'm not sitting here saying this is what we have to do, no change whatsoever, because that would be ridiculous. I wouldn't be running a DAO, and I wouldn't be inside of a team that is at the behest of a DAO. And so therefore, I'll accept whatever the community decides to do, like the other IMC members will, and we'll listen to you guys and hear your opinions. But, I just want to lay out the entire perspective of how this affects Illuvium as a whole, and then we make our decision based on that. But also, as Nick is going to point out, we need to make this decision quite quickly. So that's why we've also held the town hall as soon as possible, because there is a very, very, very big partner that is sitting there in the lurch. I had a conversation with them last night and explained to them, this is potentially happening. I don't know what the implications of this are going to be. And as I said, we've already pushed back PvP, which is the other half of this entire marketing campaign with this partner. And so they're kind of in the lurch as well here. So, all of this needs to be considered. And then holistically, we need to make the best decision for the DAO. And I trust that we can get there.
Kieran, if I may, so for the idea of kind of the pause and resume with partner, I don't think that's a bad idea. I think there are some, stop and go. You lose a little bit of momentum there on the marketing side. I think in terms of impacted community members, it would be very few that would be impacted by that. What kind of timeline are you able to share? Like how long a pause would need to be, or when we could expect for that to resume with the partner in terms of timeline, because that might help in weighing that decision against some of the other options.
I mean, I think we've got 19 days left, so it would be a pause for around about 6 weeks, which means
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean those.
So
I'm just those. Yeah.
Yeah, just doing quick math. Yeah, I mean, I think the concern there is also just the lot. I mean, and again, just thinking holistically for what's best for the entire DAO, we're talking about 6 weeks of no sales that could be revenue coming in also, right?
I have such a hard time talking between them. Sorry, I was ignoring the chat. It was a little bit hard to talk about 3 things at the same time and play. We made first place with the help of Vanastek, so I'm stoked about that. I'm gonna post it in the Illuvium Phantom. Why do I always say Illuvium? In the Phantom Discord, because we have the Arena Marathon Tournament that I've mentioned a few times already. And yeah, the game is over. The town hall is still half an hour. Let me just go quickly through the chat, but I think Mel answered the questions for me. And we're gonna keep listening to the town hall and probably play some TFT on the side. Both of these ICCPs were upvoted through Discord and are going to be in the council vote process. Nice. That's good to hear. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. We ensure there is a very smooth process ahead of us in the next few months with open beta coming, and also those promotion partners are going to be super important for the onboarding process, and it's a very delicate juggling act to really, well, what they have been saying. To not bring anything too early, not too late, not delay, but also bring it in the right time. There are so many different options, and I'm sure we'll find a good way to go. You can never know the perfect way to go, but we'll try to find the best way forward. And I'm very confident in our IMC council.
Right, if we
that they can do that.
Pause, but just something that I guess everyone should take into consideration for that. I'm just trying to keep up with the comments now. The comments are flying. And I think everyone's opinion in the chat is also that that this partner should be protected, right? If I'm reading everyone's opinion correctly, it's not so much should we or should we not do what we could do with this partner. I think everyone feels strongly that we should keep this partner happy. So I'm glad to see